All right, I hope everybody's doing good, being safe and being smart and taking care of their family during this hard time. Today, like I said, I'm going to talk to you all about life jackets. We consider that to be our seat belt in the boat because, as most of you know, a boat doesn't have a seat belt. And if you haven't been on a boat, I'm almost assured that sometime in your lifetime you're going to be. So today we're going to talk about life jackets. I may go back and forth and I may say PFD. PFD just stands for Personal Flotation Device. But I'll try to keep it as life jacket because that's what we all know. I'm going to introduce my assistant. I drug in Nikki Navison to help out with us today with some demonstrations for us. So the first thing I'm going to talk to us about is life jackets. They have 5 different types. And I don't really want you to get hung up on the type of life jacket. It's just know that there are different types of life jacket. The first life jacket type is type 1. It is the safest. It's made for rough water, like if you were out in the ocean. And unfortunately, on my desk here with all my stuff on it, I do not have a type 1. But just know that type 1 is the safest life jacket you can have. And the nice thing about type 1 is if you're unconscious, it's going to turn you back over in the water so your head's out of the water. And it will do that every time. But I'm going to talk about type 2 and type 3 now. And this right here are type 2s and type 3s. Type 2s and type 3s are good for inland waters, and that's a lot of what you see that we use on our lakes and rivers around here. They're a good life jacket. This one right here may not be the prettiest in the world. This one's prettier, but this is just as safe. And the thing I like about this life jacket is it has the flotation in the back. And like with type 1 that I said will turn an unconscious victim's head over, this will kind of do the same thing. But the one thing we need to be aware of is that a type 2 or 3 will not be, it's not guaranteed every time that it's going to turn you over if you're unconscious. But it's much better to have like this because you see the padding in the back. On this type 2, it doesn't have the neck support. So if you were unconscious, it would lead you face down. So that's why I'm a little more a fan of these. Those are type 2s and 3s. And you can tell they come in different sizes, and we're going to talk about that a little later. And when I'm talking to you all, I may be repetitive. But if I'm being repetitive, it's for a reason. It's just like when Governor Beshear makes his talk every day. The more I repeat something, the more it's going to stick with you. So just be patient with me if I'm repeating stuff. This is going to be our type 4. Okay? It looks vastly different than our type 2 and 3s. And these are type 5s. And these are specialty life jackets. They're designed to be a little more comfortable and less cumbersome. Like this is one that fits around your waist that I'll have my dad wear a lot when we're on the water to keep him safe. And this one right here is actually what I wear for work. It's an auto inflatable. You can manually inflate it or it'll auto inflate when you're in the water. And that's why they're specialty vests. And actually I brought this because this is my work vest inflated. And like I said, these are popular because they're more comfortable and easier to wear. So on this one, when you have an auto inflatable, one thing I want you to be aware of is when you have it on, don't make it super tight. Because when it expands and it uses a CO2 cartridge to inflate, when it expands, it's going to get tight. So if you have this already cinched down tight on you, it's going to get even tighter. So you want a little bit of room when you use this one. And since we're talking about this, you can see here on my vest, this is the CO2 cartridge. You can see here how it's green. Every time you go to the water, you need to check this to make sure it's not red. If it's red, it's expired and you've got to replace this. So always check this, and we'll talk more about this in a minute. Auto inflatables are specialty type 5 vests. This also is a specialty vest. It's type 5. When we say specialty vest, it just means it's designed and made for a specific purpose. This one you would see somebody working on a barge. So it's designed for them. So that's the 5 types. Like I said, I don't want you to really get concerned with the types. Just know that there's a vast difference in life jackets. So now at this time, I'm going to talk to you, those are the types, but now I'm going to talk to you about the 4 criteria that makes these life jackets legal to use. And this is one of the things I'm going to ask good friend Nikki here is she boats a little bit, and there's no right or wrong. So Nikki, give me one of the 4 criteria that makes a life jacket legal.
It has to be able to be on a boat.
Has to be on the boat, that's true. But maybe I need to phrase my question easier to you. What makes those approved life jackets for you to use?
So maybe it has to be able to be stitched down and fit to your body.
Very good. She got one. One of the criteria is it must fit you. Must fit the person that's wearing it. And you'll have to excuse my writing. What do you think, Nikki, may be another criteria? Just off the top of your head. Don't look at him. Just off the top of your head, what do you think?
It has to be made of a floatable material.
Has to be made of a floatable material. That's good. But that's not one of the 4.
I was going to say buckles, but not all of them have buckles, correct?
Buckles goes in with fitting. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to help you out here. The number one thing to make a life jacket criteria to make it legal for us is it has to be U.S. Coast Guard approved. If it is not approved by the Coast Guard, it is not a legal life jacket. So if you go to Walmart and you pick up some swimmies or you pick up a ring or whatever, if it is not Coast Guard approved, that does not qualify as a life jacket for you on the water. Okay? The third one, we're going to see if I can spell right. The third one is it has to be serviceable. And when I use the big word serviceable, that's the same as saying it functions. So it has to be functioning. Okay? And the fourth one, you kind of alluded to it, I think. It has to be accessible. And what do you think, Nikki, I would mean when I say it has to be accessible?
So if you're out on the water, you have to be able to get to your life vest in a hurry.
Yes.
So sometimes you don't have to necessarily wear it if you're an adult, but you have to be able to grab it in a quick hurry.
Right. Nikki's right. Because in an emergency or if something happens real fast, what good does it do you if your life jacket is stuffed up under a cubby hole or somewhere that you can't get to it very fast? It's not going to be of any benefit to you. And here's the neat thing. I said, like when you go pick up anything at Walmart or anywhere else you buy a life jacket, it needs to be Coast Guard approved. And Nikki can do this too, and I'll let you look and you can show this. But on all these life jackets, anywhere on here, you're going to see, every one of them is going to have a thing. And you see here, it says U.S. Coast Guard approved. Tells you the type of life jacket it is. And tells you the other information about what size that it fits. I'm going to show you some of these others. There you go. Nikki's got this one up. So it shows you it's for an infant. And it shows you it's from 0 to 30 pounds. So it's got that information on there. But you have to see where it's Coast Guard approved. If it doesn't say Coast Guard approved, which is like right here, it's not a life jacket. It may be something that floats and something that you can use, but for legal purposes, it's not going to work on a boat. And every one of these has got that on there. Somewhere you can find it, and here's a good one. Like the little inflatable waist vest I showed you a while ago, if you look at it, on this, it doesn't really say Coast Guard approved, but if you look at the packaging it comes in, let me find it. On there somewhere, yes, I'm sorry, it's right there. It shows you. So somewhere on these is going to show you Coast Guard approved, the size of a person it fits, and who it's going to work for. So I'm going to use Nikki here as a good example, and we're going to do social distancing, but I'm going to say, here's your life jacket. Put this life jacket on for me. And let's let her put it on. All right. Looks pretty good. She's got it on, right? If I wasn't practicing social distancing, I would come over there and I would demonstrate. But this is what I want you to do. See what she's doing right there? She's picking it up. How far up can you go with that, Nikki?
Way far.
If that comes up and touches just below your nose or your chin and over your ears, that's not going to work. Because the first thing that happens when you go into the water is your arms come up. And when your arms come up, if your life jacket doesn't fit, what's going to happen?
It's going to slide off your head.
it's going to come off. And then what good is a life jacket if it's not on us?
No good at all.
So take that off and show them, tell me, read to me and tell me what size or what that fits.
See. So it says that it's an adult super large. I'm an adult, but I don't think I'm a super large. And let's see, it says chest size 50 to 60 inches. So this is for a taller person
Yeah.
or a bigger person, more sturdy.
That's right.
Myself. So this, even if I cinch it down, it probably wouldn't fit me properly.
No,
Right, Marcus?
no, that's exactly right. And like I said now, when we look at these two vests right here, which one's the prettier? Nobody likes the orange one, but the orange one is just as good. Now, if you don't mind, put that one on for me. And look at your watches or on your phone and see how long it takes her to do this. Okay? All right, pretty quick, 15 to 20 seconds. But what if we were in an emergency situation and you didn't already have your life jacket on? You're panicking, you're doing other things. So it's very, very important that that thing fits right and you try it on before you ever go to the water. Your life jacket or your seat belt is yours and yours alone. So it needs to fit and you need to use the same one over and over and over and make sure it's functional, like one of the criteria I said, serviceable and functional, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. Just keep it there. Good rule of thumb on this is, you've got it cinched down, I always say cinch it down some more. The tighter, the better. Now lift it up, Nikki, and see better.
I don't think it's coming off.
It's not coming off, and that's what we don't want. Okay, you can take it off. But that's a very important thing. No matter what life jacket you have is yours, you need to try it on, you need to make sure it fits, and you need to know how to put it on. So you're not worrying about that in an emergency situation. You may not wear your life jacket at all times on the boat. You should, but you may not. But it needs to be close to you, which is what accessible means, to where you can get your hands on it real quick. So let's go through U.S. Coast Guard approved. We're going to look at that where it says it on there. Fit the person that's wearing, and that's what Nikki's helped us with, showing us that it has to fit you, okay? So, the next one is our serviceable, functional one. And I dug this one out, and I doctored it a little bit. But let's look at this. How does this look to us? Does that look like something that's in good shape? The foam's coming out. And if you look close right here, there's no clip to clip to it. Now, this is what a lot of life jackets look like. I mean, we'll come and get in our boat at the end of the year. We'll put our boat up for the winter. Summer, we'll go get in our boat, and we've left this in the boat, maybe in the sun, and we don't think about checking it. Need to check your life jacket every time before you go get on the boat and make sure everything is right and make sure it fits. So this one is ready for the trash, okay? So that's what I mean by serviceable and functioning. It has to be able to work. You can kind of tell the difference here. And see, this is the clasp I was showing you that's not there, because that's what clicks and works. So we want it to be serviceable. And the last thing's accessible. And if you look over here by Nikki in the seat, I've got a bag full of life jackets. Now, pontoons, if any of you ever been on a pontoon, we can have tons of life jackets. And they usually have them underneath the seats. If you have that underneath the seat and that's all zipped up, as Nikki can show you, that is not going to be accessible. Tell me why that's not going to be accessible.
Well, first off, it's underneath the seat, so you're going to have to pull the seat off.
Mm-hmm.
And the second off, it's in this bag. If you're in an emergency, like you said, and you don't know how you're going to react,
Nope.
Some people aren't calm, cool, and collected like you should be, but you're going to have to unzip this and then pull them all out and toss them to whoever's on the boat with you and then try to get them on.
Now, unzip it and take one out and tell me what you see with that.
Oh, and they're all wrapped up together.
They're all wrapped up to fit in there.
It's going to be, so you're going to have to unwrap it and then put it on.
Right. And are you going to have that already pre-done to where it fits you?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Because it's already.
So be aware of that. You may buy these in Walmart in a 4-pack. You may buy these in Dick's Sporting Goods as one. But if it's in the package and not unwrapped and you've got that in the boat, that doesn't work. all 4 of those criteria, the U.S. Coast Guard approved. It has to fit you, serviceable and functioning, and accessible. Those criteria have to be met to make that a legal life jacket for you on the boat. So you want to be aware of that. You may get 2 of the criteria on there, but if they're not all met, it's not legal. Okay? So we've talked about the different types. We've discussed the criteria that makes it a life jacket legal. And now I'm going to tell you a few things that in Kentucky that is the rules of the water that we have to have. And Nikki hit on that when we talked at the beginning. What if we have a pontoon boat and we have 5 people on it, or if we have 20 people on it, we have to have a life jacket for everybody on that vessel or boat. And it has to follow these criteria. You can't hold up, Nikki can't hold up this little itty bitty blue one and say, I've got my life jacket. For every person on that boat, it has to have a life jacket that fits them and meets the criteria. Now, another big one that we have here in the state of Kentucky, and you can hold, I can get it, I think it's, where is it at? Let me find it. Right here, it's a little one. In the state of Kentucky, a rule that we have is if you're under the age of 12, you have to be wearing a life jacket anytime that boat is in motion. So if the boat's moving, the child has to have a life jacket on. Now, when you are stopped or you're anchoring, you don't have to. You can take it off and the child can enjoy himself or herself. But when it is moving, this must be on. And when I say on, that doesn't mean just draped over the child. It has to be buckled and fastened and ready to go. So that's a big one in Kentucky on the age limit thing. Accessible, we talked about that. That's one of the rules we have. It has to be accessible to be legal. And another one is, this is a PFD. This is a life jacket. Now let's have Nikki put this on. What do y'all think?
I like this one.
Looks.
Pretty sure this is not going to save me.
That's right. It is a PFD, personal flotation device, but it is not a life jacket. It's called a throwable. And what it's used for in Kentucky by law, if the boat's 16 foot or larger, and now some kayaks and canoes don't fall into that, but if it is a boat 16 foot and larger, you have to, by law, have this in the boat. Now, what would I have this PFD for?
If I fall in and I don't have a life jacket and I'm struggling, you would throw it to me so I can use it to keep afloat.
That's right. It's called a throw cushion is kind of its slang term. Great to set on, great to throw to somebody that needs it, but not a life jacket to be worn and will not qualify for one. Now, what is something we could have with this, attached to this, that may be beneficial and smart?
Maybe one of these ones.
And what else? What else can we put in? What else do we have in a boat? Usually, what's our anchor attached to?
A rope.
A rope. Very good to have your rope tied to this so that when you throw it to somebody, you can pull them in. So this is a type 4, must be in a boat 16 foot and larger, but does not qualify you for a life jacket. Now, another thing, and I won't make you put another life jacket on. When you have that life jacket on, that's our seat belt in the boat, okay? When we're going in a boat and we're traveling, if the boat hits something, the boat's typically going to change direction, stop, or whatever. Now, when we're in our vehicle and we have our seat belt on, where are we going when we hit something? We don't want to hit something in our car, but when we do, where are we going with our seat belt on?
Usually, unless something malfunctions, you're going to stay in your seat.
You're going to stay in your seat. Well, guess what? When you hit something in the boat and that boat changes direction or stops, you don't stop. You're going to keep going. If you've got your life jacket on, it actually protects your upper body and it protects your vital organs like your heart and your lungs. So it works not only to keep us afloat, but it protects us for if we fall and hit something. So that's another important reason that we want to wear a life jacket. I always say, if it's like our seat belts, before you get on the boat, you need to have your life jacket on. Anytime the vessel's moving, you need to have your life jacket on. It's best to have it on at all times, but I know how things are in real life. But when the boat is moving, you need that life jacket on, and it's nothing more than a habit. If you get in a habit of clicking it or putting it on or however you want to say it, you're going to do it automatically, because when we get in the car right now, I guarantee you put your seatbelt on and you don't even realize you've done it.
Yep.
So we need to get into that habit with our life jackets. But those are the main ones about the rules on the water is, has to have one for everybody on the boat, have to have one that fits the person on the boat, must be accessible, and our age limit. If you're under 12, it's required to be on. And then if it's 16 foot or longer, you need your throw cushion in there. Now, another important fact is, do you jet ski, Nikki? Have you jet skied?
A little bit, but not much.
Okay. Would you think that you could use this to jet ski in?
I'm going to go with no.
And she's right, because this specialty life jacket that's auto-inflatable or manual inflatable is not going to qualify for skiing, tubing, or any of that stuff. One of these type 2s or 3s, yes, because you can put it on, cinch it down, and buckle it up. What happens on a jet ski, it's going to happen whether you want.
You're going to fall off.
You're going to fall off. Well, if you fall off or you hit a hard wake and you have this on, it's going to take a while for this to inflate, or if it's not auto-inflatable, you've got to pull it yourself. And you may be incapacitated and can't. If you've got this on, you don't have to worry about that. So be aware that the top 5s, the special ones, inflatable ones, may not qualify you for jet skiing, riding a tube, or whatever. And by law, if you're jet skiing, riding a tube, or skiing itself, you have to have this life jacket on. And the other thing is, it's kind of like I said with your child. When you're doing those activities, it has to be zipped up and buckled. It's not going to work just to have it on. Because you hit the water, it's going to fly off. So that kind of covers up our rules on the water, just generally and basically. This time I'll talk about a few things, and then I'll ask Nikki if she's got anything she wants to add. But very important that it fits and you keep it as yours. Let's say Nikki wants to go boating with somebody and it's not somebody she usually boats with, and she forgets her life jacket at home. What's the first thing you should probably do?
I'm going to ask them if they have an extra life jacket that I can fit to myself.
Right, and you're going to want to fit that and try it on and have it ready to go before you ever get on the boat. You're just not going to take somebody's word for it that, yeah, I've got a life jacket here. You need to say, hey, hand that to me. I need to try this on and get it to fit me. So very important that you do that, especially if you borrow someone else's. And like I said, it's our seat belt on the water, okay? And I want you to put it on before you get on the boat, and every time that boat moves, I want you to have it on. It's something I want you to get in the habit of doing. And our criteria, I'm repeating again, needs to be Coast Guard approved, needs to fit the person that it's wearing, needs to be serviceable, which I say is functioning, and has to be accessible. Those are the 4 things. Those need to stick in your head when you are getting on a boat. Find that information and make sure it's right. The other thing is right now with the way things are in the times, people are wanting to get outside more, being from stuck in the house and stuff. So we've got an abnormally larger group of people going to the water for the first time. Kayaking, canoeing, doing whatever. Paramount that those people that have never been on a boat, never flew with a kayak or canoe, or any other kind of water sport, wear their life jacket. Because we've already had other states showing up where there's been accidents with people that's never boated before and never been to the water. So I cannot tell you how important it is for you to have a life jacket that fits you and works, and you to wear it, especially if you're new to water sports right now. So I want you all to remember that. Another thing too is people from the age of 12 to 17, if they want to drive a boat that's more than 10 horsepower, which includes jet skis, most boats, most everything's more than 10 horsepower. If you're wanting to do that by yourself, you need to have your boater education card, which basically means you have to take a test or go online. It's kind of like our hunter education class. And I'm going to put this, I'll show you up here. You go to our website, and I'll write the web address up here for us. But while we're all at home hunkering down right now is a good time to go to our website at fw.ky.gov and go under, you'll see when you go to our website, we have a lot of different areas to look at, but you can go under boating, and then under boating, you can go under education. And we have 3 different online courses that you can take at your leisure. Doesn't have to be done all at once. That's the great thing about it. If you're tired, get tired after about an hour, you can lay it down and come back to it tomorrow. But while you all are home right now, you might as well take this and get your boater education card, which allows your child, like I said, to drive anything that's over 10 horsepower. And another nice thing is for adults, You can take the class, and a lot of times insurance companies will give you a break on your boat insurance if you have your boating education card. So, something to check out that you all may want to do at home. Do it with your child at home and have a good time, and that'll be a good thing to do, but very important. And the last thing I want to leave on before I ask Nick if she has anything is we're kind of coming up, I'm kind of got a slogan going on. It's called Boat Safe in Kentucky. And I'm using SAFE as an acronym. And I don't know if you can see at the bottom, good or not, but the S in SAFE stands for safety. Okay? Even though we're out there on the water having fun, in the back of our mind, we always need to make sure that we have safety in mind to keep ourselves safe and our passengers safe. So the S stands for safety. Our A stands for awareness. Nikki, what would we want to be aware of when we're out there boating?
You want to be aware of all your surroundings. So how's the weather? Is the water choppy or not? How many boats are out there? Make sure you're watching out for other people that are out there on the waterways.
That's exactly right. And should the person driving boat be the only one being aware of things?
No. Everyone that's on the boat should be aware.
Right. And I'm not saying don't have fun. Let's have fun, but use some common sense, practice safety, and be aware of what's going on around you. Always be aware of what's going on around you. So that is the S and that is the A. F is our functional word, which we can relay back to our life jackets. Just like this one that's broke and no good. Everything needs to be functional. On a boat, you need to make sure your fire extinguisher is functional. You need to make sure your life jackets are functional, your bilge pump, your plug. Just go through your boat and make sure that everything is still working like it's supposed to. Don't take for granted that it's just going to work, because a boat is notorious and great for breaking down. I don't care if it's new or if it's old. So always check your functionality of all your equipment on your boat. And lastly, E in SAFE stands for educated. And today, that's kind of what we've done. It's been an education session. That's what this boater education course is right here. It's education. You can always educate yourself. And I know most of you all have fooled with YouTube and do YouTube. You can find a wealth of information, people showing you, educating you on life jackets and other things about your boat. So don't ever stop educating yourself. The more you educate yourself, the safer you're going to be for you and your people on the water on the boat. So safe. I want you to boat safe in Kentucky, and I want you to use those guidelines. Nikki, you got anything that I may have left out and not said that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. Just make sure that your life jacket fits you properly, especially if you have kids or nieces and nephews or anyone that you're going to take out on the water. Make sure that they are safe and that their life jacket fits properly, because we don't want an accident. We want you guys to have fun during this crazy time, but make sure you're safe and being aware of everything that's going on.
Yeah. And I'll just leave you with this one last note before we go, or before we answer some questions. It differs, it changes, but out of 10 drownings and 10 boating accidents, 7 of those have been proven, 7 to 8 have been proven that the life jacket is there, but they're not wearing them. So that shows you how important it is to use your seatbelt in a boat. I don't know if we have any questions that we need to answer, or...
What are the consequences for not having your life jacket in the boat?
It is a standard violation, like running a stop sign or running a red light. You'll basically be issued a citation for that, and you'll have to pay a fine for it in court.
Okay. One person says, I didn't get my license for my boat last year. Does the 90-day extension cover me until I get a new tag?
Yes, the same that goes through with your vehicles is also applying to your boat registration. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's it.
That's it? Only 2 questions? I must have done a really good job, or else people are not interested. So, all right, once again, it was a pleasure talking to you all briefly about life jackets. It's your seatbelt in a boat, and it's going to save your life, and we want you to use it. So thank you for tuning in today.